We're always talking about looking after your bike here at GMBN, but what about your riding kit? It's just as important. So today we're going to look at pre-ride, post-ride, and also a little bit of maintenance you can do to keep your kit looking fresh and not smelling really. Okay, so first up, putting some polish or some sort of silicone spray on your riding shoes. Firstly, before I get into the reasons why, if you're going to be using any products like this near your bike, make sure the mist of the spray can't go near your braking surfaces, because that means your brakes effectively are not going to be working. Of course, you need your brakes. So the reason for putting this stuff on your shoes is it makes a slippery coating. So firstly, this can stop, kind of keep rain and stuff at bay for a little while. It also helps mud slide off. But a real cool thing that we've noticed here in the UK, and I'm sure anywhere else in the world where you ride where ticks are present, it helps stop those little critters getting up onto your socks and up onto your legs and nipping you. So it's pretty useful stuff. You can use household furniture polishes, a bunch of different things. We use silicone shine because we use muck off and we love the stuff. Next up is looking after your eyewear. That is assuming that you use some sort of eye protection. I favour a clear pair of glasses because the conditions change. Some people are lucky enough to need a mirrored glass if you're riding in sunny conditions, or perhaps goggles. Some decent eyewear cleaner is basically great to keep them clean. Always use that microfiber bag they come with to keep them clean, and keep that inside a jersey pocket or somewhere where it's not going to get covered in grit and that, so you're not going to be smearing that stuff around. Now, anti-fog, I don't really need anti-fog too much in the UK because it's mostly cold. However, if you're riding somewhere in warm climates or using goggles a lot, anti-fog's a great idea to stop them misting up. Apparently you can use spit just like divers would, but I don't really want to spit on my eyewear, so that's up to you guys if you want to do that. A couple of top tips are sometimes on your helmet, you can actually store your glasses on your helmet when you ride, or better still, if you want them to stop fogging up when you're climbing, if you've got a sternum strap on your riding pack, just hook them on there for those climbs up the fire roads before you get into the fun stuff. Put your glasses on, don't poke yourself in the head like I did, and then shred. Now, looking after your kit if you're driving to where you're riding is also important. That means storing your eyewear inside the supplied bag, storing your helmet inside its supplied microfiber bag. You don't want to just be scuffing up and scratching your helmet and stuff. So just look after that stuff. And also a bit of pre-ride prep is really important, and make sure you're not going to forget anything. The amount of times I've gone riding in sunny conditions and I've actually forgotten to have like a mirrored lens with me, it's just a pain. So try and do your packing the night before if you can, so everything is all set out. Don't put it in your car overnight, of course, because that could make it susceptible to getting stolen, but have it all ready in your garage or wherever your bike cave is, and you're ready to go in the morning with no stress. All laid out, put it in the car, go riding. Happy trails. Next up is a post-ride. Now, something that we all do here at GMBN is essentially use carrier bags. We recycle anything that we can. If you have an IKEA near you, you can get one of their big blue bags, and they are fantastic for chucking all your dirty riding kit in, and you can even get changed straight into the bag in the car park. So all your riding kit goes in there, your feet don't get wet from the floor because you're inside the bag, and it means you can go through your house, transport that right by the washing machine and bung it straight in and get it cleaned. They're also really handy, as I mentioned earlier in the video, for packing your stuff the night before going riding, because you can put everything in one place. So we've got these, go out your house with your bike in one hand and your kit bag in the other. Nice and simple. If you're unlucky enough to ride in filthy wet conditions like we do continuously here in the UK and in Europe, then you're going to need to dry out your kit. Now, it does depend on what sort of kit you have. If you've got waterproof jackets, you'll generally want to let them drip dry. If they're clean, you can tumble dry them. Always check the manufacturer's label for that sort of thing. Now, with your riding shoes though, even with waterproof shoes, they get soaked. So first up, take the insoles out and basically get those drying separately. Next up, at the very least, get some newspaper, old newspaper, scrumple it up and chuck it inside the shoe. What you want to be doing is drawing out that moisture. Now, some people put the shoes straight onto a radiator. I try and avoid that because you can actually crack the materials on some of those. I try and get the moisture out first, and then I put them near a radiator. But something I actually love to do is get silica beads or silica gel. You know, those little sachets you get that look like milky white tea bags that you shouldn't eat. Basically industrial sized bags of those. And I fill up old socks with the stuff. You can hear it on the inside here, and all I do is put those inside my riding shoes, and it draws out the moisture really, really efficiently. They never ever smell because of that. And all you do when these are soaking wet is you put that on basically on the top of a radiator or somewhere nice and warm, dries out, ready for use again. Even though these are filthy, they don't smell at all. Really good. Also good for using for other things to draw out moisture, like inside your riding bag perhaps if it's been soaked. And the last one really is more of a hygiene one. Make sure you keep your kit in a ventilated area. Don't just bung it in a cupboard until next ride, because that's when you get fungus and all sorts of other funky stuff growing in there. Just consider that stuff. You know, you want your stuff to be like air naturally. Hang stuff up, let air get to it, keep it warm, keep it dry, and keep an eye on your gear as well. Just inspect it from time to time. Are there any holes in it? Has it got any fungus or any mold in it? You can use household antibacterial sprays to sort of get rid of that stuff and try and kill it off. So a bit of common sense by all accounts. Okay, so next up is looking after some of those sweaty items. In particular, things like the pads on the inside of your helmet, knee pads, gloves. If you've ever been riding before and you can smell your own gloves, it's horrific. So first up, well, gloves, you can just bung those in a washing machine, although be careful of the Velcro tabs because they can damage other delicates you might have going in a washing machine. When it comes to helmet pads, take those off and basically put them inside a helmet bag and then tie that up, because otherwise they can sort of self-implode inside your washing machine and turn into bits. As a regular though, if you just want to keep them fresh on a day-to-day basis, something like this Foam Fresh stuff is really good. It's essentially like a dry shampoo, the sort of stuff you see people using at festivals, spraying in their hair and things like that. It's kind of the same equivalent for your bike stuff. You can use it on your pads, you can use it on your helmets. Basically you spray it in, you wipe it down and it smells nice, kind of like an interim service. Next up is technical clothing, and by that I mean like waterproof trousers, waterproof shorts, waterproof jackets, things like that. Now you need to look after this kit to keep it performing the way you need it to. Now depending on the brand or the style products you have, you're going to need to look after it in very different ways. Now some garments require you to constantly wash them, like the Gore-Tex fabric. It's a membrane essentially, and you're going to block up those pores if you don't repeatedly clean it. So they actually say you can wash it as many times as you want and it's not going to affect the waterproofness. However, from time to time you might need to put some treatment on the outside cover just to replace the DWR coating that you get that makes the water bead up. But as the fabric goes, water's not going to get through it, so you can continue to wash that. Other brands, for example, like Royal Racing, they actually recommend that you don't wash their stuff too often. And this is the route I go with a lot of my own personal products. I tend to come in and I'll be covered in mud. I'll get my wife to hose me down, literally with a jet wash outside, and then I'll literally hang the stuff up to drip dry. I'll try and wash that stuff as little as possible, and that retains that coating on there and it keeps them as waterproof for as long as possible. But when it does come to waterproofing, then make sure you use dedicated cleaners and a dedicated washing waterproofing agent that's going to be compatible with your fabric. If in doubt, check out the little label on the inside and it will make some recommendations. Okay, and the last one, a bit of an unusual one. This is for your own personal hygiene, actually. If you're an office worker or if you ride to college, perhaps, anything like that, and you suffer from a bit of the old funk here and there, or you actually have some friends that do. I know there's some people in our office that do. I leave some of this stuff lying around. Dry shower, much like the hair stuff that you can get to achieve the same effect, to get the grease and stuff out your hair. You basically foam it up, put it on, it evaporates and leaves you smelling quite nice. Some people at GMBN could take a tip from that, I reckon. Well, cheers for watching. Hopefully there's some good tips here. Don't forget to subscribe and share our stuff around. See you later, guys.